Welcome to the channel The Human Code, where human behaviors are decoded. Do you ever find yourself staring at a blank screen, knowing exactly what you need to do, but instead, you pick up your phone and start scrolling? You tell yourself you'll start in 5 minutes, then another 5, until hours have passed, and you're left with a sinking feeling of guilt and stress. If this sounds familiar, I want you to know one thing. You are not lazy. What you're experiencing isn't a character flaw or a lack of willpower. It's a complex psychological response. Procrastination is not about avoiding work. It's about avoiding the negative emotions that work stirs up inside you. Your brain isn't delaying a task because you lack the ability to do it. It's delaying it because of how that task makes you feel. Anxious, overwhelmed, bored, or full of self-doubt. In this video, we're going to unpack the real reasons you procrastinate and explore how to work with your brain, not against it, to finally get things done. Let's dive deeper into this idea of emotional avoidance. Think about a task you've been putting off right now. Maybe it's a big project for work, studying for an exam, or even just making an important phone call. Now pay attention to the feelings that come up when you consider doing it. Is it pressure to perform perfectly? Fear of failure or criticism? Maybe it is a sense of dread because the task feels enormous and you don't know where to begin. These feelings, anxiety, insecurity, resentment, boredom, are uncomfortable. Our brains are hardwired to protect us from discomfort. Dr. Tim Feichel, a leading researcher on procrastination, explains that when faced with a task that triggers these negative emotions, our limbic system, the emotional part of our brain, hijacks our rational thinking. It screams, "This feels bad. Let's do something else, anything else, to feel better right now." And what provides that instant relief? Distractions. Suddenly, cleaning your entire apartment seems more appealing than writing one paragraph. Watching just one more episode of a series feels essential. Checking your email for the 10th time becomes a priority. Each of these detours offers a temporary escape from the emotional storm. The problem is, this relief is a short-term fix for a long-term problem. You get a fleeting moment of comfort, but the task doesn't go away. It just looms larger, and the negative feelings associated with it intensify, creating a vicious cycle of avoidance, guilt, and even more anxiety. The mess on your desk isn't just a physical mess. It's a visual representation of the emotional chaos that procrastination creates. We tell ourselves we'll be more in the mood to do it later. But that magical mood rarely arrives on its own. Instead, we just dig ourselves into a deeper emotional hole. So, why is this cycle so hard to break? The answer lies in how our brains are wired for rewards. Our neural pathways are designed to favor immediate gratification over delayed, long-term benefits. This is often referred to as the instant reward trap. When you choose to scroll through social media instead of working on your presentation, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. You see a funny video, a friend's update, or a colorful image, and you get an immediate, pleasurable reward. Your brain learns this association very quickly. Avoid difficult task, engage in easy distraction, feel good now. In contrast, the reward for completing that big project is far off in the future. It might be a good grade, a promotion, or a sense of accomplishment, but those rewards aren't tangible in the present moment. From your brain's short-sighted perspective, the certainty of a small, immediate pleasure is far more appealing than the uncertainty of a large, future reward. This is a survival mechanism that served our ancestors well. When they found a berry bush, it was better to eat the berries now than to wait. But in our modern world, this wiring works against our long-term goals. Procrastination feels good in the moment precisely because it satisfies this primal urge for instant gratification. The cost, however, comes later, in the form of last-minute stress, poor quality work, and missed opportunities. It's a deal with the devil. Trade a few hours of easy comfort today for a week of intense panic later. Understanding this trap is the first step toward disarming it. We're not fighting a lack of motivation. We're fighting a biological system that prioritizes the present over the future. Beyond emotional discomfort and the lure of instant rewards, there's another, often hidden, layer to procrastination: identity conflict. Sometimes, you're not just avoiding the task itself, you're avoiding the person you might become if you succeed. This sounds counterintuitive, but it's a powerful psychological barrier. For example, if you're an aspiring artist who never finishes a painting, are you avoiding the act of painting, or are you avoiding the identity of a real artist, who must then consistently produce work, face criticism, and potentially fail publicly? If you dream of starting your own business but keep putting off the first steps, are you avoiding the paperwork, or are you avoiding the identity of a business owner who carries immense responsibility and pressure? Every significant goal requires a shift in our identity. Success demands a new level of responsibility. Personal growth demands greater discipline. Stepping into a new role can feel threatening because it challenges our current self-concept. The brain, which craves stability and familiarity, resists this change. This resistance often manifests as procrastination. It's a form of self-sabotage designed to keep you safely in your comfort zone, where your identity is stable and known. You might tell yourself you're not the kind of person who is that organized, that ambitious, or that successful. This negative self-talk reinforces the procrastination, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't do the work because you don't believe you are the person who can, and because you don't do the work, you solidify your belief that you can't. Breaking this cycle means being willing to challenge your own story about who you are and what you are capable of. It means accepting that growth is inherently uncomfortable, and that becoming the person you want to be requires letting go of who you have been. So if procrastination isn't about laziness, how do people who seem incredibly disciplined manage to get things done? Do they have superhuman willpower? Do they never feel the urge to procrastinate? The answer is no. Highly disciplined people experience the same emotional resistance and temptations as everyone else. The difference is in how they respond. They don't wait for motivation to strike. They understand that motivation is a result of action, not a prerequisite for it. Instead of trying to force themselves into the right mood, they focus on reducing the emotional friction associated with a task. One of the most effective strategies they use is to simply start small. Instead of thinking, I need to write this entire 10-page report, they think, I'll just write the first sentence, or I'll just open the document. This tiny first step is so small and non-threatening that the brain's alarm system doesn't go off. It bypasses the emotional resistance. Once you've started, inertia begins to work in your favor. An object in motion stays in motion. Another key is that they act before they feel ready. The myth that we must feel inspired or prepared to begin is one of procrastination's greatest allies. Disciplined individuals accept that they will likely feel some discomfort, fear, or boredom, and they do it anyway. They decouple their actions from their feelings. Their mantra isn't, I'll do it when I feel like it, but rather, I'll do it and then I might feel like it. They build systems and habits that make starting automatic, removing decision-making from the equation. For instance, they might schedule a specific time for a task and stick to it, regardless of their mood. They create a work environment that minimizes distractions, making it easier to do the right thing and harder to do the wrong thing. In essence, they don't conquer procrastination through sheer force of will. They outsmart it with strategy. Now, let's talk about how you can make this shift in your own life. The goal is not to eliminate procrastination entirely, that's an unrealistic expectation that sets you up for failure. The goal is to manage it, to shrink its power over you. It begins with forgiveness and self-compassion. The next time you procrastinate, instead of berating yourself for being lazy, acknowledge the underlying emotion. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now that makes me want to avoid this? Is it fear? Boredom? Overwhelm? Just naming the emotion can reduce its intensity. The second step is to make action non-negotiable, but start ridiculously small. This is the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. For larger tasks, shrink the starting ritual to under 2 minutes. Want to go for a run? Just put on your running shoes. Want to write? Open your laptop and write 1 sentence. This lowers the barrier to entry so much that you can't say no. The third step is to focus on consistency, not perfection. Procrastination thrives on the all-or-nothing mindset. We think we need a huge block of uninterrupted time to do perfect work. Instead, aim for just 15 minutes of focused effort. It doesn't have to be brilliant, it just has to be done. Small, consistent progress builds momentum and, more importantly, it rebuilds your trust in yourself. Each time you follow through, you are casting a vote for a new identity, the identity of someone who does what they say they will do. Procrastination begins to fade when action, however small, becomes a habit. It's not about a dramatic overnight transformation. It's about a quiet, steady commitment to showing up, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Start today, not later. Just take one small step. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated with you, consider subscribing for more insights into living a more intentional life.